Hey fam, what's up? Welcome back for another video. Our today's guest is Aravind Chaganti, a good friend of mine as well as a principal of one of the schools here in Vijayawada. And today we are going to talk about education, its importance, and the pattern or the format which we follow here and what changes can be brought about. So, without delaying, let's step into the video, and I hope you all enjoy it. Okay, hi guys, welcome to Real Time with Riddhi. And today we have Aravind with us. Aravind is currently working as a teacher and administers a school in Vijayawada, Andhra Pradesh. Hi Aravind, it's nice to have you here.
Hi,
Welcome to our channel.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
So if you would like to, please elaborate a bit on your hobbies.
Uh, yeah, I have a very less hobbies. Let's say I'm an adventurous person. I like to go on hikes. I like to go on sandwalks and all. So I stay in the school. So most of it happen with the kids every Saturday and Sunday. I go on sandwalks, long walks with kids, and even hikes sometimes with kids. And yeah, I read a lot of books, mainly on child psychology and how to how a teacher should be in school and how it totally relates on psychology and teaching based books, pretty much that. Yeah.
Nice. So you like listening to old melodies too. I like
Yeah.
that too. And I know how what kind of adventurous person you are because I've been to a trek with you. And that was fun
Yeah.
too. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
it is.
So, for the audience, you should know that Arvind currently runs a school here in Vijayawada. So, today we are going to talk about education and what is the importance of education. I thought Arvind could be our perfect guest because even he is working on the development of education sector right now, and he's a young man who has a lot of dreams and aspirations. Well, so getting into the video, firstly, I would like Arvind to talk about his school, the curriculum they follow so that the audience gets an idea about how his school runs.
We have a basic curriculum of a state syllabus that we follow, but we emphasize more on learning and teaching of a child than the curriculum. Curriculum is just for the sake of marks, but we see learning in a total different perspective where we think first 15 years of his life is exploring, where he needs to see many things, where he needs to explore and learn many things so that he can choose what he wants at the final when he is graduating or something. That is one thing. And yeah, for that what we do is most of the schools teach the six subjects they have: Telugu, Hindi, English, Maths, Science and Social. But we have farming as a subject. We don't have many classes, but at least once a week every class will go to a farm. They will we have few people who usually knows farming and all. So they tell them about farming and they have fun in the field for some time and they go back to the school. And we have cooking classes as well. We not for the seniors, but for the primary students, just so that they can go to their kitchen in the house and they can help their mom and all, and they knows how difficult it is to cook as well. And we emphasize more on creative writing. We have an organization called Sahes, where we invite other schools as well, other schools kids as well to our school, and we'll have a workshop for 3 days where we emphasize them to be a creative writer and a good stage artist. So we teach them the theater skills. We have few resource persons who come to our school and tell them their experiences and teach them how they exactly feel when they are on stage for theater and all. And another special thing about our school is we have an ATL lab. It's a central government initiative. It's an Atal Tinkering Lab. It is initiated by central government to let's just say to encourage kids in to step into robotics and coding. Mostly the ATL lab or the curriculum that we follow revolves around robotics and the coding, which they don't have as a separate subject, but they have as an activity. It's not, we don't give a marks for it, but we think children learn a lot from it. So we have a few things like, many robotic toys, and we even have a 3D printer where our students print few things and all. So it's a central government initiative. So we had a lab in our school. It's a very big lab, and we invite 5 to 6 schools around our school, and we'll spend mostly, every class will spend mostly 2 to 3 hours a week in that lab, so that they can learn something about robotics and all. And yeah, pretty much that I can say.
That sounds really interesting. I see that there's more focus on hostile development rather than just the bookish knowledge in the school.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
great. I really like that type of education. Thank you so much for, bringing this change, bringing a new type of learning into the society. Yeah, okay. So, moving ahead with the questions, the first question which I have for you is, what is your view on the current education system? And do you think it teaches children everything that they need to learn?
I can say to an extent, but not really. I kind of don't like the current education, not the textbooks per se, but the way we teach the textbooks, right? That thing I don't like, because most of the schools made education as something where marks are only important thing rather than the overall development of the child. So yeah, we would like to change that. I personally don't believe in having competition in schools, especially. We should not have competitions, but we should have collaborations. We personally believe that we don't see that competition is healthy in a school. We'd rather believe in collaboration. So we try to bring competition as low as possible, but we couldn't come out of this marks thing where we evaluate kids from their marks. I know few practices which some schools do, which are very good. I know a school in Vijayawada itself. It has 16 different subjects in their progress card. And always, as a teacher, tell them that marks are not the criteria their life goes on. Because I know many people who are very poor in their schoolings, but they're doing very well right now, and they're earning more than what a topper would earn, or a person who did very well in school would earn. So that is not the criteria, but what we emphasize, what I want the children is to see, to explore, to experience everything, so that he knows that this is this. I even say, to an extent, they should even experience some bad things, so that they will exactly know how the society is, just not the good part as well. And for this, everything plays a vital role, from a person who cleans the bathrooms in the school, from a person who sits in the chair of principal. Children get affected from every person. They learn from every person. They learn from everything that they see and that they listen. So we have to make sure that what they listen is correct, and what they see is correct, and what they are surrounded is very good, so that a child can become a very great person in the future. But I don't see that in most of the schools. We see very clumsy classes with 40 kids, 50 kids, and one teacher teaching them on a blackboard, or just teaching them the textbook, rather than teaching them the real topic and giving them the real examples. And most of the teachers just emphasize on marks, so that they get good marks at the end of the semester, or that at the end of the year, so that he will pass to the next grade. But very few teachers can notice the actual need of the child, where he might need a little more attention, or he might need a little more care, so that he can also be a person uh, uh, which he actually have to be. So the current system won't give that, with a lot of students in a classroom, and with a single teacher. So we have been experimenting. I have a great mentor with me in my school who works with me. So she is a great person, and we work together. And she started, experimenting with things. We have very less kids in our school for lower classes, maximum of 25 children, and a single teacher. We even then, we feel that teacher have a lot of burden, because she needs to observe each and every kid, and she needs to give attention to each and every kid. So we thought of having two teachers, where one person will be teaching and another person will be interacting with the children, and there will be like a two-person teaching class, where it will be more talkative with the children, and it will be more interactive way. But it should need a lot of training to the teachers, because most of the teachers are not used to it. And maybe many young people, if they're interested in educating kids, and coming into the education field, because they won't have any experience of teaching, maybe then we can make this two people teaching as a thing in the school. And I think that will be very interesting for the kids as well. And things like that happen. We experiment sometimes, few schools, not everything, but most of the schools don't. They just follow everyone, where they have many students in the class, and they just teach what they have in textbooks, which we don't want. So there are a lot of changes. And we got a new education policy in 2020, which is very good, and which is very, I loved that. And if everyone follows it exactly as they say, we may see a change in India in next 20 years. It's that good. And yeah, I'm hoping that will bring really good changes in the way we teach kids, especially.
Hope it does. I hope the same, because even I'm right now in the education field. I'm pursuing my education, so even I'm frustrated at sometimes, because of the way we are getting thought about the lessons or the thing.
Yeah.
So I hope that the change comes soon. And also, thank you very much for emphasizing the role of every person in the school around the child, on how it helps the child
Yeah.
develop or get
Yeah.
affected. That is a really nice point you made. Okay, well, now that you see there is a lot of chaos going on outside because of the pandemic, children are not able to go to the school. That's the offline classes, and it's online classes everywhere. And personally, no one is interested in, attending
Yeah.
online
Yeah.
classes.
I get it.
Children get bored. Even I like, lose attention after a certain span of time, and then I have to force myself to come back and sit. And also because, the screen time is increased. So there's a lot of trouble there to get educated. So what do you think about, how the pandemic has affected the education and how we could cover up later? So if it was for you and you could, do something about the education after the pandemic or during the pandemic, what would you do?
Yeah, I say school gives children, a knowledge or a place where they learn maths, physics, Telugu, English, or, some subjects like that. But learning is everywhere. Children don't stop learning, especially when they're young. So pandemic don't change anything, but yeah, they may lose some subject, but that will be recovered very well. And we are having online classes, and most of the students get bored. Even I know that. But I attended a seminar recently which we had, and the person who was the chief guest is I don't remember his name. He's the chairman of Oak Ridge School, Hyderabad. So yeah, he is telling, one of the person asked the same thing. Children are not interested in attending online classes. What we should do? They're not even bothering online classes and all. But yeah, that is true. But he blames the teacher rather than the child, because teacher have to make that class interesting. If the class is not interesting, even the child won't listen in the physical classroom as well, right? He will be looking at something or looking outside, or his body will be there, his mind will be absent. Just like that, if we make classes interesting, if we make classes more interactive with the kids, then I think even online classes will be very much helpful for the kids. If there is a person who takes care of them, who reteaches them, or who, who is there with them, then they will, no, that doesn't matter if it's online or offline, they will learn, and they will become very good in the future. But yeah, there are few cases where we had to give remedials to them, and had to, teach them everything from the start, so that they can get caught up in the education as well.
So you would suggest a parent to sit with the child when the online classes are going on, especially for the lower grades, so that they concentrate.
Yes.
Okay, we will give importance to this point too. So another thing I would like to ask you is that as a teacher, okay, how many years of experience do you have? How many years have you been working?
I don't have much, something around 1.5, not even 1.5, something around 8 months and 6 months, because the last academic year didn't happen fully.
Oh,
and
right.
I've been teaching online, but I have been a teacher to teachers, because I was training teachers mostly to teach online, but not teaching kids regularly.
Okay, so you might probably have some kind of experiences with the children back at the school.
Yeah.
So do you want to share any sort of experiences with our audience so that they can learn something out of it, or, gain a message?
Yeah. It's not experiences, let's say. We have many experiences with kids, but most of them I don't remember them. But most of the kids tend to surprise me or anyone, let's just say. As a teacher or as a parent, we have an opinion on every kid, right? On our kid, who we are teaching or whom we are parenting. So some things change just in a matter of minutes. Children especially change. They can become good to bad and bad to good as well. A person can change them, a movie can change them, a story can change them, just because they believe that, because their minds are that innocent. And they tend to surprise many times. They tend to, do a many lot of things that surprises me, which I don't expect them to do that much as well. So we have to see that, we should not see child in a way that his past or his actions that, that he did in past affects the way that we treat the child right now. If we treat the same way, he will be the same. Every day, if we look at the child as a fresh person, then I think at one day or the other, he will change for sure. And we have to just wait for that moment. And I had seen many moments like that with my children, and I'm pretty much happy about them, actually.
I've heard few experiences from you too.
Yeah.
I remember those. Well, so probably the last question of the interview. So if there is something you could change about the current education system, what would it be? What change do you want to bring? So just guess you become the minister and then you have the power to change everything in the education system. So what kind of changes would you bring?
The teachers, I say. Yeah, especially the government teachers, I can say, because most of them are old, and the technology has become has developed so much in the last 10 years, especially from 2010 to 2020, that most of my teachers don't even know how to use phone fully. I had to teach them how to use a Teams app, and I had to teach them, and it took me almost a month to teach them. Teachers should be a person who knows everything and who can be, updated, so that he can give the updated information for the kids. But our current teachers, I mean, they can be old also. I'm not telling that they can't be old, but most of our teachers are not able to adapt it, not able to see that, not able to adapt the technology, not able to, give classes in computer, or not able to, they can use YouTube as well. They can use many online sources to, teach kids and to make the topic interesting. They can give many do yourself activities in their houses, so that they can learn the concept as well. But many teachers don't do that. Only few teachers who have a real interest in kids, who have real interest in education are doing it, but they're very less in number. If that increases, if the teacher emphasize in doing such things, then yeah, education will be in another level. And many countries did that. Finland did that, uh, which I personally talk about most of the time because it is one of the best education systems in the world. And you don't even believe me, they start their schooling at the age of half year. We usually start our schooling at 2.5 years. But see how young they start teaching. They respect everything, and they don't particularly tell children to do something. They observe what they do, and they try to change the surroundings. I personally believe in this. Okay, we should not try to change the child, but rather the surroundings of the child. So we have to change the surroundings of the child, the where he lives, the things that he get to experiment with. And a teacher can control the entire classroom surroundings. And if a teacher can give what a child needs at a time, and then the child can learn according to it, because most of the children might be few years less mentally than their physical age, and a few years some children can be few years advanced than their physical age mentally. And teacher has to go and look through all the children who are very weak or very silent in the class, and children who are very hyperactive as well. So yeah, if a teacher should invest most of his time in teaching. And I can't ask that to my teachers really, because the one thing that's lagging in our education system is it is very much undervalued. It is very much undervalued in India. The least amount of salary that a teacher gets in our school is something around 8,000, and the highest amount is something around 25,000 to 30,000. I should not say this, but that's because we have to collect that much fees. More than that, we can't collect in an area like this. This is our school is not in a city; it's in a village, and most of the people that come to our school are from farming background, so they can't pay much fees, and so we can't give much salaries for the teachers as well. So yeah, even that, because they don't feel that much secured, and even that make them uh, you know uh, not work wholeheartedly in a school. And there are many factors that affect, but if we try to give that security to a person and who really loves the children, and who can spend his day entirely in a school, and people like that, we need people like that who come into school and spend time. I'm happy to say that we have many teachers like that. Not all, but we have many teachers like that. And our children, I can proudly say that they love their teachers. And I'd be very much happy if every teacher is like that in every school.
We need more of passionate teachers to teach the
Yeah,
children in a right way. That's
yeah.
nice. So one of your hobbies, you've mentioned that you like doing research on, child psychology. So
It's not a research kind of thing, but I like to read some books, and I try to, what I learned in the book, I try to implement it in child. And it's very fascinating learning psychology of a child, because every child is different. Every child, tells you a new thing, teaches you a new thing, tells you your flaws if you really see it. And it's very fascinating for me, the behavior of a child, the way that he changes, the way that he learns. And that is an age where he has most of the innocence in his life. It's pure, his heart is pure, he can take whatever we give him. And that thing makes me, I don't know, wonder how a child learns and a person learns how and there are many research happening. And I personally studied one research where a person tried to make a child learn 15 languages in 15 years, and a child did. If you ask me to learn 15 languages right now, I can't even learn one, because my mind is set to what I know, Telugu and English. But his mind is not like that. He can take whatever we give him. He can take in how much ever amount of information that we can give him. It's just that we have to see what we give him and how we are giving him.
Yeah, that's right. We need to know the potential of the child. And even I've
Yeah.
heard about this, that, a child can learn the most in those, growing years of life around 5 to 6. That's nice.
Yeah. Most of the things that even we learned, if you see, after 15 years, now you're 19.
I'm 18.
18, yeah. After 15 years, you completed 3 years, keep on observing, observe till 25. You would learn nothing after 15 years, after your 12th grade maximum. You would learn things, but they will be somehow related to what you have learned in those 15 years, for sure. And 80% of the things that we learn are in those 15 years.
Surely does make sense. I will think about it. And I hope the audience also thinks about it and, come to their own conclusion. Well, so before going, do you have any sort of message you want to give to the audience regarding education or anything, basically the holistic development?
Yeah, nothing like that. I'd rather ask everyone to live their life with full potential and do what they like to do. That might be a mistake. That's okay, because we'll definitely learn from them, and that's how we become. That's how we grow.
True that. Well, that was a great session and a great talk. Thank you so much for joining us, Arvind. We hope we will get you back soon with some other topic to talk about.
Yeah.
Thank
Sure.
you so much for being here, and all the best.
Thank you. See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.